Now, Caleb Bond, who's the late news host, normally the late debate host, of course, but he's been filling in for Peter Credlin. He joins me now with the panel, and Susie O'Brien joins us from Sydney, actually, this time. Good to speak to both of you. I just want to get your thoughts on my wrap-up of the year. You know, I just can't find anything positive to come out of this from the federal government's point of view. Am I too harsh, or am I missing some good news there somewhere, Susie?
Oh, well, my favourite piece of, well, I don't know if it's good news, but it's amusing news, is Meghan Markle's latest acting gig is a cameo in a coffee commercial, and the name of the coffee company is Clever. They're so clever they forgot the second E in the word clever, and so this is a company that is it's all about entrepreneurship and organic, you know, naturalness. So they're saving the word one turmeric latte at a time. So go Meghan Markle. Is this really the best she can do after 8 episodes of Suits?
There actually has been plenty to laugh about this year, Caleb. I got no trouble with that, but I just can't think of any way that the country, our country, has actually benefited, has improved over the year.
Oh, look, I think we improved a little bit when Daniel Andrews resigned as Premier of Victoria, didn't we? I mean, those of us who lived through a bit of life in Victoria, Susie's certainly one of them. I didn't have to spend as long there as she did. But, you know, if you went through lockdown, I think it was a pretty good day when Daniel Andrews stood aside, to be perfectly honest.
Absolutely.
No, it would have been better for Victorians to vote him out. He just gets to walk out on his own terms.
But it would
He's
never
very, very
happen.
happy.
That's the problem.
Chris, he's walked out.
He had the whole state in his thrall.
He's walked out, but he can't walk onto a golf course because nobody wants him.
Exactly. He's going to have to move interstate to get a game of golf. It'll be interesting to see whether they let him play on any of the Sydney courses. Now, I've got to talk about a little bit more about Albo and his year, because he's finished it with all this controversy about the expenses. Now, I hate this stuff. It comes up every year. We know it's a big country. It's very expensive to fly people around and do all this sort of stuff, Susie, but it doesn't look like the incoming Labor government in the cost of living crisis has had any eye at all for economising here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he's not flying Jetstar economy. It's squeezed down by the toilets, just like I did coming to Sydney. You know, these figures always sound alarming. You know, $4 million in the middle of a cost of living crisis. But, you know, it was only $147,000 more than ScoMo, and that was in 2021 in one particular quarter, and that was during COVID lockdown. So, you know, both sides of politics play this game, and I think, you know, whether it's Liberal or Labor, what taxpayers really want is accountability. They don't care so much about the dollar figure, they actually care about the outcomes. They want to feel that they are getting value for money, and they want to feel that they're getting the political outcomes that they want. So both sides of politics play this tit-for-tat game.
Oh, yeah, they all have their snouts in the trough, there's no doubt about it. I just want to move on to the ABC. And Caleb, I know you've spoken about this earlier today. We talked last night about Antoinette Lattouf being dumped from her fill-in role on the ABC. She never should have been recruited for that. But another ABC reporter has had her story taken down from TikTok. Have a look.
That I was spending close to 40 to 50 grand a year on just Israeli and American products. I've been in the boycotting of those products now for just under 2 months.
Oz is one of many people taking part in the Palestinian-led boycott divestment scheme, which is a movement that lists brands that supporters of Palestinians are discouraged from buying from because they have some sort of tie to Israel, according to BDS.
Yeah, Caleb, this is supposed to be journalism about the BDS movement and the boycotting against Israeli products, which is a fair enough issue to look at, but it's just a commercial for the BDS, really. There's no other side to it, and no wonder the ABC pulled it down. It just shows that they're out of control at the national broadcaster, and always their mistakes favour the leftist argument, if you like. In this case, it's the left who are so hard on Israel.
What a surprise. But see, the thing here is the TikTok, as we know, is big. The TikTok, I say like I'm some sort of fuddy-duddy. What I meant to say is the ABC is getting big into TikTok. They have decided that this is the new frontier for them. This is where they're going to reach people. So what you saw there in that video is very typical of the style of content you will get on TikTok. But when you are a national broadcaster that is bound by law to be impartial and you are producing news, which is what that is meant to be, you have a responsibility to report both sides, and you didn't get that out of that report. I mean, you know, if you punted up that story to a newspaper, they'd say, well, you've got to go and get a response from someone, you know, a prominent Israeli or Jewish person, because that is simply how things are done. If you report on one person's perspective, you get someone else's to go with it. But when you start blurring these social media and news lines, as the ABC is now doing, you get that kind of biased content. And as you say, what a surprise, it typically goes one way.
Yeah, indeed. And they should just get off TikTok. This is the way the Chinese spying app, as some people call it, that the government has banned government workers from having on their phones. And I reckon as soon as they said that, the ABC said, we're all in. Everyone get on TikTok because the government doesn't like it. Honestly, it's just get off it and do some proper journalism. That'd be useful. Now, what about this Opera House decision? Susie, you're in Sydney at the moment. There needs to be an official policy now to sort of limit what can be shown on the Opera House sales and how often, basically because whoever's in charge of it can't be relied upon to make sensible decisions in the first place. I mean, they're spruiking a horse race on there at one stage, and then now they're all in a kerfuffle because people hated having the Israeli colours on there.
Yeah, look, I absolutely agree. We shouldn't need it, but clearly we do. When the Opera House is lit up one of every 5 nights, for God knows what, whether it's commercial or political, we shouldn't be having one of our biggest art canvases in the entire nation be used to show foreign flags or horse races like the Everest, or political protests. So I'm absolutely against it, and I think that they need to crack down on this kind of stuff, because it's partisan, it's commercial, it's political, and this is an artistic monument and one of our most recognisable symbols of this country, not just Sydney, but the whole country, and we don't want it to be used by partisan or commercial entities. So I say good on them for doing this.
It looks great, those white sails. Leave them white, except for the next time the Adelaide Crows win a premiership, then line them up in the Crows colours and leave it that way for the whole year.